I want to check that there is sound. Please let me know that there is sound coming through. Whoever is watching. Yes, super. Thank you so much for the feedback. Now I'm calm. So Jeannette should join in a few minutes, and we will go over some exciting stuff related to raw diets, raw foodism, and how it turns into a career, how to succeed in this diet, what are the culprits, what everybody needs to know. So, and of course, there will be some room for improvisation, I'm hoping, and we'll see where it goes. It actually will be my first time meeting a real raw foodist besides myself, and I've never ever met anyone who would be really well introduced to this lifestyle as a phenomenon. So I met a girl, the only person who was really excited, who was knowledgeable about this practice, but she herself wasn't practicing it. So I always was this solo heretic, and I'm very excited to actually have a conversation with a person with much more extensive experience with this, and I'm hoping that it will be mutually enriching, and we will actually meet and learn about the person behind this lifestyle, another representative unit who is really passionate about this lifestyle and actually helping people to succeed in it and heal. So 153, and let's see. If you have any questions throughout the conversation, you can leave them in the comments, and I will write them down, and maybe I will address them later or within the intro if you have time. We will only have 45 minutes time slot. So, and there's really a lot to discuss, surprisingly. When I started thinking about the interview, about what could be really curious to talk about, it turned into a lot of material. So probably not all of it will be covered even. not to keep a pause hanging in the air. So I will tell about myself. I'm Anastasia Fedorenko. I have a YouTube channel called Raw Form of Life that you can subscribe to. I try to post as relevant as profound information related to the raw foodism, raw vegan lifestyle that I source from literature, from diverse materials, trying to make sure that it's all backed by real science and such that it is applicable to an average person, such that everybody feels enabled, empowered to approach this lifestyle and gain benefit from that. Because sometimes it can go into some extremes, sometimes it can be associated with certain not so right choices in life, and avoiding the dangers is quite important no matter what we do. As an engineer, I can confirm that having standard operating procedure and following it to the T in most cases is what everybody needs to do. So developing instructions for success is crucial. That's what I'm working on, as well as I consider myself as a self-reporting sample on the experimental as of like relatively to the normal, mathematically normal way of life. Of course, my lifestyle is experimental. That is why I call it an experiment, but you can run an experiment thinking that you want to fail with an experiment or you want to succeed in the experiment. So I'm running it from the position of wanting to succeed. And this is why I put a lot of effort into actually developing knowledge base around it. So it's 1:59, so my guest should be here in a moment, and we'll actually start a more interactive part. Yay, she's in. Accept. Come in. I'm accepting it. Go live. Whoop. I press accept and nothing happens. We'll probably restart it or something. Request. So yay!
Hi!
Hello!
You
It's so great to actually talk to you. I already was online for some time and I said that it's my first time ever meeting a real raw vegan person. So it is
yes.
quite an event for me.
Oh,
I'm very happy
wow.
that you were able to accommodate a conversation with me. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I checked you out. I'm subscribed to your YouTube. It's awesome. And thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'm all subscribed to you, and so we'll keep cross-pollinating, I guess. So, I will introduce you to my audience. So I'm really delighted to introduce Jeannette Donofrio, also known as Miss FitVegan, which I find a really amazing name because it's really a misfit in a way. It's not just choice of lifestyle. So Jeannette has been raw vegan for 12 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
At this point,
12.
Do you even count?
Yes, I went raw in February of 2011. So a little over 12 years.
Nice, yeah. So, and as far as I can tell, you actually managed to gradually like turn your lifestyle into a whole like diverse career. I know that
Yes.
Several projects that are like this like career choice is so fascinating to me because it's literally a community service. It is such an honorable activity to help people become healthier because I personally believe that health is a foundation for unlocking human potential. If you want anything, any breakthrough in life, health is a prerequisite. So it's really cool. So I know that you are running a Woodstock Fruit Festival.
Yes.
Is it going to happen in 2023?
No, it's not going to happen in 2023, but we will announce, I will announce within the next week when and where the next festival will be. So follow the Woodstock Fruit Festival page, and I will go live next week to announce it. So stay tuned for that. Yes.
Nice. The website actually is very beautiful. It's such a cool
Yes.
place, very unusual to like to see that culture existing. Then you're also an author of a book which is called Raw Vegan Beauty, and I need to check it out. So I think it can be found on your website, right?
You can. So the link in my bio here on Instagram, or if you're watching on YouTube, I'll leave the link below, and I'll send you a copy. Anastasia. Anastasia,
yeah.
Okay.
Or you can call me Nastya. Nastya is short.
Okay.
Like
yeah, I'll send you a copy.
Thank you.
Hopefully, maybe you'll like it. And yeah, it's all about natural beauty, which is very important because, you know, the things that we're doing as women to our bodies and our skin and our hair, it's very, very toxic, and it causes issues that, you know, we go to the doctors and the doctors don't know what's wrong because they don't study the chemicals in makeup. They don't study the chemicals in the food, the hair products, the body lotions, you know, all these things add up. So it's very important to be careful what you put on your skin. You are eating it, so be careful.
Yeah, it's like a lot of endocrine disruptors, and then most common concerns that women face usually is somehow in some ways related to their hormonal system. And no, not many people think that what happens to your like ovaries is related to what happens to your thyroid or pituitary gland. So it all goes a long way. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's really crazy. I understand that. Yeah, raw food would definitely change my approaches with cosmetics and self-care. And also, I know that you have a community that's called Misfit Mondays. It happens weekly, I'm assuming.
Yes, every single Monday. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Every single Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom. We meet, and it's a place where you can come to not only ask your questions, because, you know, when I first went raw, I had so many questions. I didn't know anything. I didn't know how much to eat or when to eat or what to eat, or if it was too much fruit or too much fat, or, you know, how many bananas was okay, like exactly like how do I make these salad dressings? How do I know if I'm eating enough or if I'm eating too much? Like, there's just so many questions, you know, deficient, you know, am I going to be deficient in something? So this is a great place to ask. Hundreds of people join the call every week, and you can ask me, and then I open the floor. So there's people that know so much more than me that are on the call. So honestly, it's an amazing place. And I love it because I learn, because I don't know everything. And there's people that are on the call that have been doing it longer than me. So Ann Osborne was on the call last Monday, and she has been fruitarian, raw vegan for 33 years. So I loved asking her questions because I've only been doing it for 12 years. So yeah, great place. And if you want to check that out, it's misfitmondays.com, but you can also just go to the link in my bio, misfitmondays.com. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you. So, you said it happened like in 2011. I'm assuming it was before the YouTube, before this information was widely spread, like, and it's not an obvious choice to become a raw foodist by like any means. So how did that thing happen into your life? Because I understand vegan, right? We feel compassion to animals. We don't want to harm nature. We don't want to cause suffering. We go vegan, but raw vegan is a totally separate school of thought. Like, what happened that you considered that and pursued it?
Yeah, great question. I was at a rock bottom in my life. I was overweight. I had severe cystic acne. I was always sick, and I had bronchitis constantly as a kid, always going to the emergency room, taking lots of antibiotics and Z-Paks every single year. I had digestive issues, very bad, lots of pain and suffering and depression and chronic fatigue, and I was at a severe rock bottom. I tried every other diet. I tried eating gluten-free. That helped a little bit, but I tried the Atkins diet, which I guess is now rebranded as keto. I tried the Zone diet. I tried eating, just like smaller meals. I tried eating one meal a day. Well, that doesn't really work. I was starving. I tried everything. I tried and it didn't work. So I tried the raw food diet and it worked. And I'm never looking back because, I mean, if I go back to the way I was eating, then I'll just suffer the symptoms that I was dealing with. So I'm never going to go back. So a lot of people ask me, do I think it's realistic to be raw forever? Or like, am I always going to be raw? Yeah, because I know what's going to happen if I eat processed foods. I'm going to feel sick. I'm going to start getting acne. I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to start having digestive issues and headaches and migraines. I'm going to have all psoriasis all over my body, just like I used to have. So yeah, I hit a rock bottom and I tried the craziest thing I could find, which was the raw food diet. It's very, very strange. Everybody's eating cooked food. What's wrong with cooked food? We evolved because of cooked food, but I think we devolved, honestly, because of it. I really do. Right? Because it doesn't make sense that like we're the only species that suffers from preventable diseases. And we are also the only species that cooks our food. And the pets that we have, the dogs and cats that we give cooked food to, they also suffer from the diseases that we suffer from, obesity and cancer and all types of issues. My dog died of cancer. I didn't know that I wasn't feeding her species specific food. So anyway, our species specific food is clearly food that we can eat raw. And there's nothing against rice. I have nothing against quinoa. You can be very healthy eating those things. But personally, I feel the best eating fresh food that I don't have to cook, fruit and vegetables, nuts and seeds. So that's what I'm doing. And that's why rock bottom. That's why.
Yeah, you keep saying like, I was like, I know, because I was in a very similar boat, and I was going through a very stressful period of time for several years, and my symptoms of like migraine were worse. I started actually losing weight because I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep because of panic attacks. So my diet was espresso and a cookie at some point because I just couldn't fit anything in myself, because of just all this stress, and I was scared because of my migraines that I've suffered from, like, since child. I have a tape my parents showed me. I was playing, and I was 2.5 years old, and I stopped and I start crying, like, and my mom's like, what happened? And I'm like, my head. So that was since childhood, and I always was on those injections. Twice a year, I would get administered injections for 2 weeks that would stop my migraines. Then they would put me on pills for a couple of months. While I was on injection and pills, nothing. But then as soon, like the day I stopped doing those drugs, migraines resumed.
Wow.
It was torture. And of course, I suffered with acne from like menstrual pains and PMS and stuff like that. And then I tried everything as well. I went into this Mediterranean organic whole food diet. all doctors were literally doing checkups, so they would applaud to me. They're like, such a good job, such a good job. And I was like, then I went to a neurologist, I did MRI. It's like, migraine, I can offer you Botox. And so I was like, is there anything else we can do? He's like, no. So medicine literally, Western medicine literally told me that there's nothing we can offer besides symptomatic treatment, so go entertain yourself, do whatever you wish. And so I tried raw diet, somehow it happened, and I didn't expect it to cure migraine. In 1 month, I cured them. There was no migraine, and I've been living for 2.5 years now without them. It's a miracle.
Yeah,
so I feel very
it's a very scary society when the experts don't know how to help us. Like we go to, I'm drinking water. Somebody wants to know what I'm drinking. Somebody's water. But the thing is that we go to the doctors and they don't know what is wrong with us and they don't know how to cure us. So they give us something to stop the symptoms. And unfortunately, that is exactly what you want to do if you want to have disease later. Stop the symptoms, okay? Stop the pain. So like when they're giving you Botox, it's just you're cutting off the nerves that are telling your brain that your head hurts. And it's like, do you even know? And that's an expert doing that, you know? So it is, I understand people are confused and it's scary. And now there is in the paper all over the world about the young lady, the beautiful young lady that passed away, and everyone is getting very, very scared to eat fruit and vegetables, nuts and seeds. And so, you know, I just want to say if we cannot rely on the experts because they are not studying, unfortunately, anything that can really, really help us. They're studying things to prescribe to us to make money, and that's it. You know, no expert can help me. I had to help myself. So Sherry said, can you both discuss how the raw food diet helped with panic attacks? If you're willing to share, it will inspire so many. Yeah. Do you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, it just disappeared. I just felt so calm all of a sudden because I was depressed. Because I felt helpless at some point. I lost like sense of life. I was suffering with migraines. I felt helpless. Doctors felt helpless about me. And again, hard period in life, like months of prolonged stress. And I mean, I go to raw diet in a month, no panic attacks as well, because I felt, first of all, that I just felt better. And when you start feeling better, you feel some evolution, some progression, some positive progression in your life. You suddenly feel like you are in control. And when you are in control, when you found something that you can so firmly rely on, beside, like outside of any life circumstances, it suddenly gives you very deep peace. Because another thing, like with all the stressful events of 2020 and later, I learned that literally there is medicine and food around us, so you will never starve. Nature always gets you covered, and this is the deep knowledge that I understood through raw diet. Because if as long as nature exists, I'm good, and this gave me such a peace. And plus, also, of course, normal microbiome produces hormones, that endorphins that keep you in the overall like baseline good mood. So there are two components to that: mental and physical, of course.
And when we are, and when we are being created in our mom's belly, I believe it's our gut and our brain that are growing at the same time first. And so they are connected. Our brain and our body are connected. And so whatever you are eating is going to highly, highly affect you. Yes, food can cause anxiety to be even more prominent. Okay. But I think, you know, a lot of things happened when I went raw. I started to like really care about myself more. I started to take better care of myself because one habit affects the rest. So I'm not saying a raw food diet cured my anxiety, because it didn't. What happened was it just like, it made me do things that were really healthy for myself, like start exercising, like start breathing, you know, start meditating, and start just treating myself with love and priority. And that helps a lot with the anxiety. I also started doing tapping for anxiety. That really helped me out a lot. But everyone has anxiety. But it's important to what's going on in your mind. There's a lot of very, very unhealthy raw vegans. So like, I don't want to say the raw food diet is going to cure everything, because it definitely doesn't. You have to change the way you're speaking to yourself. If you're like living in the future and so terrified because, you're thinking about all the things that are going to go wrong, that is really going to affect your anxiety. And so you've got to train your brain to work for you. And you got to say to it, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're changing this thought. We're changing this thought to, I love myself. I am safe. Everything is okay. I'm going to be okay. And, you have to change the thoughts, because the thoughts are what's causing your anxiety. So, yeah, good question, Sherry. My problems didn't go away, but they're definitely less prominent with the raw food diet. Yeah, because you got to work on yourself. You got to do the tapping. You got to do the affirmations. You got to change the recording that's going on in your head. We have 80,000 thoughts a day, I mean, how many of those are negative and fear-based? You got to change it. It's on you, and there's nobody else that can do it.
Yeah, and plus also we went very deep, and I'm really happy that you touched up on this subject, because like from the point of it goes like intertwined, right? So the choices that we're able to make in certain state of mind, they also, like for example, the person in misery can give up and realize that, not give up, but get desperate and go do some radical move to get them out of that situation. As soon as they get out of the situation by that radical action, like for example, changing the diet, or some people will be starting to exercise. From that place, their mind starts functioning in a different way. So it creates this chain of events of mind looking for another opportunity. Then they jump on this opportunity, it alters their mind, and it goes in this sequence of events. So yeah, it's really, really important to always keep track of both mind and physical. And again, with knowing that brain with the body works in the feedback loop, it's not like one-way road. Definitely having physical help to the brain is really essential as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Adam Rem says they can't hear anything. It's definitely you, Boo, because everyone else can hear. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but everyone else can hear us, I think.
Good. I'm not going to so. So I wanted to ask you, like, okay, 12 years in, you know a lot of things. I was actually really charmed by you saying that you still don't know everything. It's so pleasant for me to hear as for a scientist, because I prefer to be my biggest skeptic. And I always respect it when people are always on doing research, are always bettering, are always excelling in their knowledge, as experts as well, because you're an expert. So 12 years, but when you were only starting, do you remember the challenges? Do you remember the timeline? Like, how was it happening? Like, when did you start overcoming the addictions? When were you starting to get addicted to raw food? Then when healing started, do you remember all those events?
Yeah, so I was really, really miserable eating processed foods and McDonald's and just anything. Like having anything available for me to eat, I could not control myself, so whatever was in the house after I came home from work, I would start eating, and I couldn't stop. You know, I had a food addiction for sure, like many, many, many people do. And it wasn't my fault, and it's not their fault, because the food is designed for that.
Mm-hmm.
The food is designed to be addicting. And so that was my experience on earth. And then after, being 26 years old, doing it for so long, from the age of 13. So for 13 years, struggling with eating so much and getting so sick and hating myself and feeling so guilty and being overweight and feeling disgusted and disgusting, and suffering mentally, really, really suffering with depression, and just feeling so out of control. Well, when I tried, like I said, I tried Atkins. It didn't work. I binged. I was starving. I tried the zone diet, because I know, like, a lot of celebrities, they lost a lot of weight on the zone diet, and I was like, okay, maybe this is it. Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, all these things. And I tried them all, and they all led to me binging. I tried starving myself. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I tried the fasting. I can't do it. So when I went to the raw food diet, I tried it and I was like, oh, wow, I'm not hungry because if I'm hungry, I can eat. With every other diet that I tried to break my food addiction, because, if you have a food addiction, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to eat normally now. You know, it doesn't work like that. Like, you have to go through the process of learning like what you can and what you cannot eat. I cannot eat, and like a McDonald's. I will want more and more and more and more. I can't have one bite of like a cupcake and then be like, oh, okay, I'm fine. I love to eat, and I wanted to eat everything to numb my pain and emotions. I didn't want to deal with that. So long story short is that I tried the raw food diet, and I felt for the first time in my life that I could be satiated, that I could actually, eat this way, because when you're hungry, you get to eat. And it was hard for me to know when I was full. So I was definitely eating a lot more than I needed on the raw food diet when I first started, because I didn't know when I was full. And I was eating lots of, gourmet stuff, lots of raw food like Oreos and Snicker bars, raw vegan cakes and cookies and lasagna and all that stuff. And it was so good, and the trail mix and the chocolate. So I ate a lot, but like I started losing weight, and I started seeing like my skin started getting better, and I started being able to go to the bathroom, and I started to feel better mentally and physically. I didn't have any more stomach pain. So I was like, wow, this is a miracle. I'm just going to stick to this for, 30 days. And it's been 12 years because, I mean, honestly, it is the only way that makes sense to eat if you want to be healthy and happy, and you want to stop the binging and the cycling of dieting. And, I do want to add real quick, even though on Monday, I'm going to be doing an entire show with Jillian Berry and Shane Sterling on Zana and, what happened with her and my thoughts on that and our thoughts on that. But I just wanted to say real quick about the raw foodist that passed away. I cannot relate to her, unfortunately, because I didn't have an eating disorder. Okay, yes, I had disordered eating. A food addiction is disordered eating, but I never had what she had, so I can't relate to her. I never had anorexia. Okay, I had binge eating disorder, but I was never that able to. I was somebody who like I wasn't able to stop eating. And so this is why the raw food diet works great for me. Okay, for me, I'm you know any diet on earth is not going to work good for somebody who has an eating disorder if they don't deal with their eating disorder.
Yeah,
So if somebody
yeah.
has anorexia or bulimia and they come to the zone diet or the Atkins or paleo or the keto diet, they're going to have anorexia on that diet. So it's very important to understand that. The eating disorder has to be dealt with, therapy and treatment, and and changing our beliefs, changing our thoughts. We have to do that if we want to heal. The raw food diet is not going to
Love
heal.
yourself.
Right. Yeah, I don't mean to go on a tangent, sorry. But the raw food diet is not going to heal an eating disorder. It's going to be the same. Wherever you go, there you are. So me, I went raw and I was still binging for a really, really long time.
Too, actually.
Yeah, I was binging, but like it was okay because I was losing weight. I was getting healthier because I was binging on fruit and vegetables, nuts and seeds, right? So for
Another thing
many,
is that your body gets nurtured. You're like,
yes,
when you eat some processed foods, you get calories, but you don't nourish your body. So
yes,
on raw diet, you get more per calorie, so your body is happy with kind of less, and then it just starts functioning properly. You cover deficits and just
yes.
stabilize you.
And so now the reason why I'm doing a food addiction freedom course is because after it took me literally, I'm not joking, it took me like over a decade to stop binging on raw foods because I never
Mhm.
wanted to deal with the emotional aspect of my disordered eating. I never wanted to deal with emotions, the trauma that I suffered, my sister's death, my mom's death, my grandma's death, my grandpa's death. I never wanted to deal with all these things that I didn't deal with, anger, sadness, fear, regret, all these emotions that are so uncomfortable. I just wanted to numb them.
Mhm.
And since I don't do drugs and I've never drank in my life, I numbed my emotions with food. So now I do my course because I finally learned how to stop using food for anything besides fuel. I don't use food when I'm angry. I don't eat food when I'm sad anymore. I don't eat food when I'm, every once in a while, I will find myself like eating grapes and I'm bored. I'm not really hungry, That's the only thing. Now, I don't
I'm
binge.
thirsty too sometimes.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
come
thirsty
home
and I
from
leave.
yeah, I don't come home from a long stressful day and just start eating and eating and eating and eating because I don't want to, cry or deal with life or talk it out or feel. So I just want everyone to know that if you're in that boat where you're using food for anything besides fuel, I know what you're dealing with and it is possible to heal from that, but it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to feel things and that sucks. And it's worth it though. It's worth it to become free finally from the food addiction, which is it's not easy, but it's possible. Anyway, that was really long.
Now,
Sorry.
now that you mentioned that food addiction can be not only from the chemistry infused foods that are coming from food industry, which actually it's such a ridiculous term, food industry in a way. When you treat food as something that comes from nature, it's not only that, but it also can be even on raw diet.
Yes.
But yeah, regarding your course, I was actually curious because you work with people, you do consulting, and it's a lot of psychology, and you go into the most hardcore psychology with that. Because probably there is nothing harder for a person who lives in a pretty pretty comfortable consumer paradise like Western world is. There's nothing harder than changing some habit, changing their ways, approaches. So what do you like? How do you influence this change? Like, how do you empower people to step into the zone of the unknown? Because food is anchored, literally. It can be anchored to like my mom was feeding me when I was sad. I was visiting my grandma who passed away who was feeding me. So there's so many anchors in the most like warm and pleasureful memories, healing the emotions through that. And so it's a really hard matter. Do you think that do like usually appeal to the scientific facts or do more like drive people into more metaphysical, emotional sphere? Like what is your approach in working with people like that? Because it's a hardcore psychology at this point.
Yes, great question. Okay, so now I know what it takes because I did heal myself and hundreds, maybe thousands of people now. And I know that the first step is awareness. Awareness is the first step in the healing process. If you are not aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it, then you can never change it. Okay, so that's number one, awareness. And then I try to keep it and make it as very, very simple as possible because like it took me so long. It took me 36 years to figure it out because I was always searching for the answers outside myself. I was always searching for like, well, okay, so I have these beliefs and like in order to change, I need to change my beliefs. But like, how do I change my beliefs about myself? That I can never eat normally, that I can never resist donuts, that I can never resist cookies and cakes and ice cream and everything. How do I change this belief? And then I realized through my research and the last 10 years, I realized that beliefs are simply just thoughts that we've had over and over and over again. We want to change our beliefs about ourselves, that we'll always be fat, that we'll always be struggling, that we always have to be on a diet, that we're always going to be dealing with health issues, that we're always going to be a food addict. If we want to change that, we've got to change the thoughts. How do you change your thoughts? You just practice. You just practice. And that's what I do with people for 6 weeks. I make it my personal mission to help people change their thoughts. If you refuse to change your thoughts, you can't change your life. You can't change your body. Deepak Chopra has a great saying. He says, if you want to know what your mind looked like in the past, look at your body today. And if you want to know what your body's going to look like in the future, look at your mind today. Your mind is controlling how your body feels and looks. If you're saying, I love to be healthy, I love to move my body, I love to make smoothies, I love to eat fruit and make beautiful big salads, I love being healthy, well, you are going to be healthy. It's going to be so easy for you. And if you just, if you start saying those things, even though they're not true, it's going to come true. But if you are saying the opposite, which might be reality, but like maybe you want to change your reality. And the best way to do that is change your thoughts. So if you're walking around all day long with the same old records saying, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't lose weight, I can't stop eating these bad foods, I can't stop, I'm addicted. You know, if you're saying that, well, you're determining what is going to be true and what's not going to be true. Everything starts with our thoughts. So, and then of course, you know, it's so easy. It's just amazing to run this program because it's like you can eat as much as you want. All the fruit and vegetables, the nuts and seeds. You can make the gourmet raw foods. You can make the lasagna, the cheesecakes, the ice cream. You can make all this healthy versions of the food you're craving. So you are not deprived. You're not starving at all. If you're hungry, you eat. If you're hungry, you eat. And that's what's amazing about this lifestyle. To me, it's just a miracle. And I'm just so grateful that I found it by the grace of God, because honestly, I don't know where I'd be. I don't know if I would even be here on earth. I don't know what I'd be doing, but I know I'd be very, very sick by now because, you know, I was gaining a lot of weight and I was out of control. I was eating, you know, over 10,000 calories a day of the worst stuff on earth, and I just couldn't stop. And so I know if I can stop, if I can be in a house where there's cookies and cakes and everything in this house, and I'm not even attracted to it, I don't ever want it, I don't ever crave it, then I know I can help anyone because I was out of control. So
It's very well said. Very good analogies and thoughts here. What I wanted to add as well to this potentially that people actually sometimes they don't know, first of all, how health feels. And second thing they often don't know is what they need this health for. Like I remember myself in the state whenever I didn't need to go to work, I was laying in bed, listening to some saddest music on earth. I didn't feel any incentive to get up anymore. And I remember reading that novel by Milan Kundera. It was Unbearable Lightness of Being. And there was this concept of that everybody should choose when to go. And I was thinking to myself, if I was in the scenario of that book, would I keep going or would I take action? And I thought to myself that I would keep going. I would always keep going. I'm curious. And this pushed me in the most desperate moment to go and see what's there and try again. And it was so worth it because the sequence of events was just unbelievable. And it's so important for people to somehow get access to the idea of what their real potential is, to that there is an ecstasy in just being when you are just healthy. That it's much bigger than, like, for example, some people do this, they keep their spouse by their side because they're sick. And they know that there's a cool lever. If they're sick, their spouse will be there, or relatives, whoever.
yeah.
There's so many things that are intertwined with that situation, that are subconscious, that somehow give some benefit to people. But yeah, somehow building the world in which there is a vision for what it is would be so amazing. I'm really happy that there are people who are actually radiating that.
I want to talk about what you just said because this is so important. Being sick and being overweight and being a food addict can be so ingrained in our identity that if we start to like make changes or like start to say things differently or do things differently, it can be so shocking to the system that, you know, I've seen it many times with clients where they're like, I have to drop out of the course. I can't do this because it's like you don't know who you are anymore.
Yeah.
If you don't have a food addiction, if you're not eating, you know, crap, if you're not breaking your diet all the time, then who are you? You know, what is your identity?
All the time, that's like suddenly free and you're happy all of a sudden. So what do you do with it?
So that's a great point what you just said, and I want to just say to everyone at home that you know, you have to start to be open and willing to change your identity, to change the I am, whatever comes after I am. You know, I am overweight. You know, I was always saying I look pregnant. I was always saying I am addicted to food. I can't not eat it. Like if it's in front of me, it has all the power. And I didn't realize that actually I have all the power. I can choose what to put in my mouth and what to not. I didn't know this though, because I had a story and an identity of someone who was out of control, who was a food addict, who had all these cravings. And I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying it is, you're going to have to change your identity. It's not easy. That's why, that's why we do what we do, and that's why I have a course on it. So if anyone is interested, I can send you more details on the course. All you have to do is email me. My email is jd@misfitvegan.com, or you can send me a DM here on Instagram. Just send me the words, I am ready. Even if you're not ready, because you're probably not ready. Nobody's ready for change. It's very scary. It's very hard, but it's very worth it. And if you refuse to do hard things, then your life is going to continue to be hard. Okay? So you're going to have to do hard things. You're going to, and anyway, isn't it really hard to be sick and overweight and unhappy? It's hard. So yeah, breaking a food addiction is hard too. You choose which one you want. You're dealing with a hard life anyway. If you're sick and you're overweight and you're constantly on a diet, constantly struggling. Like, I am so grateful that I don't have to struggle anymore with food. I don't have to feel guilty. I don't have to struggle and hate myself. I hated myself when I was on a diet all day, and then I got home, I was starving all day long. I ate like some lettuce or, and then at night I would try to have, a little piece of like chicken and a little bit of broccoli, and I would eat it, and then I would just be so hungry. I would eat everything in the house. I would break my diet and I would just start binging. And I just was like, I just couldn't understand what was wrong with me. And it was such a war and a fight in myself, and I spent a lot of time doing that. And so if you hate yourself, if you just cannot get it under control and you just don't know what's wrong with you, there is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just in a cycle that needs to be broken, and I can help you break it if you are willing to change your identity, change your thoughts that you're saying, change the foods that you're buying, change the actions you're doing. But you got to be willing.
When is the course again? When does it start?
Yes, so it starts next Sunday, August 13th, and it's 6 intensive weeks with me, and you're going to be meeting with me 3 days a week on Zoom and working out with me 3 days a week on Zoom. So 6 times during the week we'll be on Zoom. You're also going to get my phone number. We're going to be in a private group chat with everybody in the course. You also get a lot of stuff. You get a lot of stuff. Everything from me, all my books, all my other courses. You get a free membership to Misfit Mondays forever. So, you're going to get a lot of resources, and you're going to meet people that you're going to know for life in this group. There's 10 women that I choose every single time I do this, and they know each other for life. And you're also going to get an accountability partner for life after this. So I pair up 2 people in the course, and they keep each other accountable forever, because you need someone else doing this with you. It's not easy to do it alone. I did it alone, and it was very, very difficult. And so I know it's much easier when you have someone to lean on. When you're craving something, you can call someone and say, hey, I'm craving this. I want somebody else to know that I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to eat grapes instead. I'm going to have banana ice cream instead. And you deny that craving, and guess what? It gets easier. It gets easier every time you say no to something you really don't want, and you say yes to the life that you do. Thank you, Sherry, for this. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Sherry.
Yeah, it's really cool. So congratulations on this new endeavor. So yeah, I wanted to add to that. What did I want to add? I just forgot. That's what I wanted to add. Also, reminiscing on the Jeanna's story, who passed away, unfortunately. I learned about it from Russian news, because I have this benefit of accessing Russian information as well pretty fast. And what I noticed in the comments, I was reading the comments under those news. Of course, it's like a whole outrage in people. And what I noticed, the theme in general sometimes happens that people think that like vegans or raw foodists, they are obsessed about food. So they talk about food, they only think about food, and like food, and only food is in their mind and life, which is, again, it's a fair impression, because people who are into this school of thought, they usually talk about it, but nobody knows what happens in the lives of those raw foodists or vegans outside of their social outreach. So in fact, it is much less dependence and more like attachment to food than in a general population, because literally our civilization is built around food. Like, going on a social gathering, everybody will be, even it's against the etiquette. Like, nobody's supposed to look into your plate, but it still happens. People just like gaze into your plate. What did you order? Why did you order? How did you order? How does it taste? Blah, blah, blah. So it's a huge thing in this society. It's just different when you're raw vegan. And second thing is that, yes, outside of talking about it as your activism, there's beautiful, bright life that is probably much more comfortable and pleasurable, because you have to deal with very pleasurable consequences of eating living foods. So, yeah, it's probably much less fixation on food, in fact.
Yeah.
Again, if there is no eating disorder like Jana was having.
This is very true. I was obsessed with food before I went raw. And now it's interesting because, yeah, I post about food. I talk about food a lot, all day, every day. I mean, me personally, I try more to talk about the mental aspect of being raw, honestly, because it's a lot more mental than it is physical. But I have to say, back in the day, I would just, every second of every day was food. When can I eat it next? What am I going to eat next? What am I going to order at the restaurant later?
How many
you know,
was it?
yeah, when can I have my next food? Everything was food. And like, but I also hated it too. I hated this food that I was eating because it was causing me to be sick all the time. And I would get stomach aches, and I would always like just regret it immediately. And so the raw food lifestyle is a lifestyle of freedom where you can eat things that taste good, but you never regret them, and they make you feel good, and they help you to heal. And it's just unbelievable. It's such, it's obvious. Like you can tell that this society is very, very, very sick when they take this story and sensationalize it.
Yeah.
When she didn't die from a raw food diet, clearly, it's like if somebody is healthy, eating a raw vegan diet, they don't have any bacterial infections, they don't have any, they don't have an eating disorder or whatever, and they just die. And then I can understand, right? I can understand if, okay, let's investigate, like, did the raw food diet, like, kill this person? But, like, if they have an infection, if they have an eating disorder, if they're doing drugs, if they have any type of illness in their body, and, like, and then they die, why are we blaming the food? It's like Tina Turner died of I think she had a stroke. Nobody asked what she was eating because she wasn't promoting a raw food diet. When Whitney Houston died, nobody said, what was she eating? Was she eating fruit and vegetables? Was she eating a raw food diet? No, because she wasn't promoting that. So it's like, nobody cares what you're eating unless you're eating healthy. And that is what is going on in our society. That is how you know this is a very sick and twisted society. And the doctors cannot help us. We're on our own here. So that's why I'm really grateful that you do what you do. That's why I do what I do, trying to spread the truth that is so hidden. There is so much secret, hidden information. And no, you don't have to fast. You don't have to water fast or dry fast. You shouldn't do that. You don't have to juice cleanse. You don't have to go on these mono islands. Okay, I've done many. I've done many in my past. Trust me. I did bananas only for 7 days. That was a terrible idea because let me tell you, I got so sick of bananas, I still can't eat them. Okay, I really can't eat bananas. So but I didn't know what I didn't know. It took me 12 years to figure out how to do this right. I didn't know you don't have to be extreme. You don't have to eat too little or too much. You can find a way. There's a healthy way to eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. And you don't have to restrict yourself, and you don't have to be a constant cleansing, constant parasite cleansing, constant, detoxification, cleansing the liver. No, the body does it on its own when you give it the foods that you're supposed to be eating. So I just want to say that. Thank you for, these are great questions and great points that you're making.
I feel like yes, I would be yes, every single word, because there's again also, right? So we talk about raw food, and then there will be like courses on like detox. Then like many people won't know what they're detoxing from, first of all, and second thing is that I have video on Ayurvedic approach. What I didn't like about Ayurveda is that the diet, it's okay, diet for like body types and so on. But what I didn't like is that it's also like remedy based. So when you do some like singular actions, it's the same idea, the same concept, the same way of living and thinking as with normal, like living in the paradigm of medical system. I came up with this saying, I don't know, maybe it will not pass my inner censorship if I give it second thought, but modern medical system succeeded in one thing. It succeeded in keeping terminally ill people alive. So this is what it's succeeded in.
Mm.
I mean, of course, trauma doctors as well. I cannot diminish their impact on society as well. So, but most of what people go for medicine is usually literally keeping people with diseases alive for as long as possible, but not making them healthy. And so with that, when people come from the not changing their paradigm of not doing something wrong and then doing something right for a short period of time, like exercising their willpower, going on challenge, another challenge, where I will exert my willpower, but then I'll relax. I'll exert and relax.
Yes.
Raw food is a path, it must be built in a very comfortable fashion. It must be approached as something very smooth, something that you can gradually get on to gain as much knowledge, like bridge your intuition with your rational brain, because our rational brain and our subconsciousness are both wired to think a certain way since childhood, when everybody got this like cough syrup or something from parents. Parents did know better. They did what they could, fed antibiotics and so on. And you saw it working. It's like, another analogy is that a person can drive a very bad vehicle, but the vehicle, yes, it breaks. Person loses a ton of time working on it and servicing it. But this vehicle drives that person places still. So it's kind of working, but person doesn't realize that could just upgrade to a better vehicle and start enjoying their life all the time, instead of going like, it drives, doesn't, it drives, doesn't. So it's two different approaches to life, like quality of life.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you brought up a car, because we know so much more about taking care of a car than we do of the human body. We just know so much more. Yes, we need to change the oil. Yes, we need to get it looked at. Yes, we need to do this. The engine light. Okay, when we see the engine light come on, we bring it to the shop. The engine light of the body is pain. When we are in pain, it's the body saying something is wrong. We need to look at this. We need to look at this. And then we bring our bodies to the doctor, and they don't know. The experts don't know. Meanwhile, if you bring your car to a mechanic, they know. But it's very scary out there if you haven't done your own research, if you don't know the truth. Then I was in the same position, and I was trying everything. Before I went raw to heal. I went to every specialist, every ENT doctor, because I couldn't breathe. I could never breathe. And I got surgery trying, because I thought I had a deviated septum. Okay, so I got surgery because I could not breathe. And after the surgery, I still couldn't breathe. And you know what it was? It was the dairy. It was the mucus. It was the animal products and the dairy that I was eating. I could not breathe because of that. And now I wake up every day, I can breathe. But meanwhile, it took me hours every morning to finally be able to breathe through my nose, because I was so clogged up. I didn't know what was wrong, because the doctors didn't know. And if the doctors don't know, then I guess I need surgery, So long story short is, I commend everyone who's watching this, because it means the universe is putting you into alignment with the information to help you heal. And that is rare. That is very rare, because most people are never going to find out about the raw food diet. Now a lot of people are hearing about it in the internet and seeing it's very scary and it's very dangerous, and you will be deficient. And I'm here to tell you, I just took a blood test yesterday because I wanted to have an updated blood test to show people on YouTube. So I can't wait to get those results. And I'm here to show you and make sure you understand that 12 years, I am not deficient in anything. Certainly not protein. Certainly, not B12, not vitamin D, not calcium. I'm not deficient in iron. You can get all these things from fruit and vegetables. Vitamin D comes from the sun, and the B12 is from the soil. And we don't need to worry about protein, because it's not possible unless you are starving to death. So if you are starving to death, then you may have deficiencies, okay? Because you're not eating food. And Sherry had something she wanted. Sherry had a great question. She said, remind me about the snowball effect of what happens when you honor your commitment to yourself. So thank you, Sherry, for saying that or bringing that up. I just wanted to address it real quick because it's really good. So just one habit affects the rest, like we said before. Okay, so everything affects everything. All right. So, you wake up in the morning, and what you do first is going to affect the entire day. Okay. So if you wake up in the morning and you go straight to Instagram, your whole day is going to be a day of being distracted. Your whole day is a day of you're going to be reacting. Okay. Your whole day is going to be basically just a nonstop fight between you trying to be focused and not be on your phone. So the way you start your day is very, very crucial. And so everything is affected by the first 20 minutes of your day. If you wake up and you work out, you wake up, you drink water, or you have a smoothie, or you have some fruit. You wake up and you say affirmations, or you read, or you do meditation, or you do tapping, or you get out into nature. You start doing something positive for yourself, you're going to see that you're going to be able to choose better, healthy foods because of that action. Everything is connected. You're not just going to become raw and stay the same negative person. It's like you're never ever going to see like a drug addict on a raw food diet. It just doesn't work. And if you do, then there's a lot of stuff going on there. Okay? There's a lot of disconnection there, because when you start taking care of yourself, you can no longer hurt yourself. When you start being positive, you can no longer be negative. When you start being focused, you can no longer be distracted. You can't be grateful and negative at the same time. So when you start eating a raw food diet, you're going to see that it's really the result of you doing other things. Okay? You're not going to be able to be just like watching, very toxic media, listening to toxic music, and be healthy. No, you're going to change the things you're listening to. Okay? So I just want everyone to understand, it's not just the food. You're going to change your thoughts. You're going to change the things you're reading. You're going to change the people you're interacting with. I can't be friends with the people I used to be friends with. They weren't interested in health. They wanted to go to TGI Fridays every weekend. They wanted to just like shop all day and eat crappy food at night and drink alcohol. And I wasn't into that stuff. Okay. And so I had to change my friends. Yeah. You have to probably change your friends, most of your friends, if you're going to be healthy, because you cannot like be in one environment and try to live in another one. You can't be in a toxic environment and try to be healthy. Things are going to have to change. So yeah, Sherry, good point. The snowball effect. You start doing good things, you're going to start doing more good things. You start doing bad things, you're going to start doing more bad things. Okay, so drug addicts and people like that are usually, they start doing illegal things like stealing or whatever, right? They get into other bad habits. Okay, raw, you're going raw, you're going to get into other good habits, eating, exercising, and, meditating or getting out into nature. Yeah, so Tessa, so yeah, you eventually stopped drinking alcohol because it's not really possible to be a true raw foodist, care about yourself, and still poison yourself. It's not possible. Okay, so you had to choose, and you chose the raw food. So I'm really happy about that. And I think we had another comment. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, Sherry. Sherry, 30 years, no animal products, and her blood test was perfect. Sherry, you should post that online. That is really, really amazing, and the world needs to see that. 30 years.
I'm going to go to the doctor as well. I haven't been doing a checkup for 3 years now, so it will be really nice to see what raw food has did to me. Because like my approach was, I built the diet. Literally, I opened all micronutrient tables, and I fit it in with all the foods that exist like in the plant kingdom that I can easily access. And I literally did such a study, and I'm very curious because my diet currently provides everything that we need.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to like check my graphs with nutritional values and overlay them with the blood work results, because I want to see if they correlate, if I actually metabolize those things. Because
yes, and post them because people are like lost. They don't know anything about nutrition. And Tessa had a good question. Why do people take care of their cars but not their bodies? Do you want to answer that? Do you want to give your opinion on why do people take better care? How about this? How about we just say, why do people take better care of the outside of their body than they do the inside? How about that?
Because again, one thing that I noticed, a lot of people, they have very childish feel about themselves. They're still looking for for someone to come and tell them what to do. So they're kind of lost. They don't know who they are. They don't know their true value, their true path. So they kind of like just react to the outer world. This is one reason. Then another reason is that system kind of teaches people to like especially modern one. I don't know how this trend will evolve, but it's kind of weird. People tend to outsource themselves to the authorities as much as possible. They outsource their memory to their devices. They outsource their knowledge acquisition to some authorities, like from the news. And I'm a scientist, I'm a professional scientist. When you read an article on Google Scholar and then you read the synopsis of this article on some pop media, it's two different things. And people usually don't go as deep as reading actual studies. And when you outsource your mind, when you outsource your body, your knowledge of your body to some authorities, what's left of you? You outsource your body, you outsource your mind. What is you? What is you at this point? So taking lead for yourself is a very scary and uncomfortable thing because you don't know what to fall back on. Because here is kind system that's like, here we go, we offer you chemical treatments, we offer you all the knowledge you need to know with your like lazy brain, basically. We will give you everything. Just go and work. Go to your 9 to 5, please, and pay taxes in like timely fashion. So this is how majority of people will unfortunately live their entire life. Taking lead and responsibility is the scariest thing, but this is the step to become free, to actually unlock who you are. And this is why when we interact with the world, with the system, we just follow its expectations, and its expectations are very simple. They're very low on the Maslow pyramid. It's literally, most people don't live past the stage of securing a shelter, some food, and partner, whatever. Like
She's talking about the needs, the Maslow needs chart. Yeah, right.
And so, yeah, that is why we take care about our superficial aspects to secure those things, kind of. So it's like that old bad vehicle. It brings me places, and I don't know where could a better vehicle bring me to, because system didn't teach me that, and I outsource. I don't want to take care of that stuff.
Yeah. Society makes it great. That was really good. That was really fucking good. Tessa, I'm going to say that society makes it abnormal to be healthy. It is not normal to eat a raw vegan diet in society today. It is not normal. It is normal to be eating dead animal body parts, to be eating processed foods, fast food. Nobody would say a word if I went across the street right now to go to McDonald's, okay, to eat. Nobody would say anything. That's not weird. But if I eat half of a watermelon in public, that's very strange. That is very strange. That is too much sugar. That is going to cause diabetes. That is very strange. It's abnormal to take care of your body. So it's abnormal to eat raw, to eat healthy in society. And that's how it's set up. So that's why I think it is so, people take so much better care of their cars, because it's normal to take really good care of your car, but it's not normal to take really, really good care of your body. It's not. The outside, yes. It's normal to wash your hair. It's normal to wash your clothes. It's normal to take care of your house, make sure your house is clean. Those are all normal in society. But see, it's the people that are willing to go against what's normal in society, okay, that are doing the raw food diet, because it's not normal. It's not normal to care about your inside of your body, because if you care about the inside of your body and you eat a healthy raw vegan diet, you will not need to go to the doctor or take the prescription pills. You will not need to have the surgeries, and the whole entire society will collapse, okay? The whole thing will collapse. The restaurants will go out of business. The doctor's offices, the specialists, the x-ray machines, the hospitals, all this pharmaceutical drugs, the Walgreens, the CVS's, the Rite Aids, all of these things are going to close. We can't have that.
It will be impossible, because I noticed that people just chat about their snot all the time. So I mean,
the whole thing is, yeah, the whole thing is going to collapse if you care about the inside of your body. So that's why, Tessa, I hope that cleared that up. I hate being considered abnormal, but like, choose your heart. Yeah, I love it. I love it, because if you want to be normal, normal is fat, sick, and nearly dead in our society. Like, I love being weird. Why would I want to be like everyone else who is just so completely, like, completely lost and sick and suffering? And most people are miserable and depressed, hate their lives. Most people cheat on their girlfriends or boyfriends because they're so miserable. Most people are working jobs they hate. Most people are just watching other people do the things they love. So Tessa, why would you want to be like most people? Stop watching me, Tessa, and start your channel, Tessa, because you have so much to share. I'm serious. I'm serious right now. The people that are just like watching other people, they're not tapping into their creativity. And we need to do that to be healthy too. It's not just about the food. We need to be able to express ourselves. If you're an artist, you got to do art. You got to, or you're going to suffer. If you're a dancer, you have to dance, or else you're going to suffer, probably with an addiction, maybe a food addiction or a drug addiction or alcohol, something. You have to do what you were born to do, which is be creative and share. And that's why, you know, so many people don't want to be different, but it's all the people you love that are different. All your favorite dancers and artists, your favorite musicians, your favorite actors, they're different. They're not normal. They decided to be themselves and be strange. And so I love being strange. I love it. I don't, right? You too, right?
Absolutely. Be the leader of your life. Like, take real leadership over your life. This is where it starts. And also another thought, like, regardless of your spiritual life, you're literally, like, if we consider that everything in nature has purpose, then you have purpose too. You are literally the hand of the creator. You have the creative potential. And if you don't realize it, you are literally not performing your evolutionary role. So nature will erase you, because nature doesn't like redundant, useless things.
Oh.
So if you don't ask yourself, like, what am I? What is my role? What are my aspirations? Because you genetically have some predispositions. You have genetically predetermined talents to you. And if you don't realize them, your brain, through, like, by natural mechanisms, it will do everything to annihilate you. And this is what you should not allow yourself. You should act in contrary. You should embrace that as much as possible. This is your goal. This is your role. And you need to embrace it, lead it, and excel in it, like, as much as possible. And if you never try doing what you're truly into, you will never know the ecstasy of really super conductive life, when there is no resistance, when there's pure energy, when you work hours onward and you work and you feel like you're just blooming, you're getting younger, you're getting more energetic, you go into the world like a superstar, and you charge other people. It's another mission to charge others, because, like, what is the economy based on? Economy is based on energy. All trade is based on energy. So you have this resource, which is energy, to spark an action, to spark some productive change in the world. And you must share it. You must execute. You must increase it, enhance it, share, spread it. Just shine. It's the evolutionary role. If you don't perform it, next. So.
Oh, so good. That was so good. And yeah, Tessa was right. It's not easy. And we're not saying it's easy, right? Like, we're not saying it's easy to step into your greatness, to step into your truth, to step into your weirdness. It's not easy. It's lonely sometimes, and it's scary, and it's exhausting sometimes, and it's, like, confusing, and the whole thing. Yeah, it's not easy, but everything that's easy is ruining your life. Taking the easy way out is giving you a hard future. So you gotta stop that. You gotta stop that. It's like we're not taught this in school, so that's why nobody knows. But, like, having an easy life, you're miserable. You're miserable. You need some type of, like, stress or pressure or, like, scariness. You need to jump off the cliff into the water. You need that. And it's like everyone's trying to take it easy, but, like, that's leading them to be depressed. It's not easy, but you just have to do it, or else risk individuals given qualities being extinct. Yeah, that was so good. Post Misty's blood test too. Who is? Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. People are distracting me. Sorry. Sorry. Nonsense.
Yeah, we actually exceeded our time. I don't know if you are.
Yeah, I got a 3 o'clock, so I'm a little late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have some. Of course, I wrote a ton of questions to
Let's
ask
do
you, but
another one
yeah, let's
if
do
you're
it.
up for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wild, weird conversation actually headed eventually. So I'm very happy that we brought it all up.
Yeah, I love your energy. I love what you're doing. Let's definitely do another one very, very soon because yeah, it's awesome and it's awesome that you're a scientist too, which is really cool. Like I want to know more about what you do. So, yeah, let's do this again for sure.
And I also loved it so much. You can tell.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, let's do that again. So yeah, I guess we're going to wrap up here. I don't think we will have any questions at this point. Something like last minute urgent. What to eat? What to eat now?
Any urgent questions? I mean, somebody asked if I take supplements. I do not. I consider juice a supplement personally. So I try to have green juice every day. Some days I don't. I didn't have it for like 3 days. Then today I made a nice big green juice that I really loved. Celery, cucumber, apple, ginger, lemon, and kale, I think. So, I consider green juice a supplement. So I supplement with green juice sometimes. It's like a daily vitamin. But yeah, no, I don't take anything for B12. I don't. Christabella is asking about B12. I don't take B12. I don't need it. I don't take any supplements. I was vitamin D deficient when I lived in New York. But now, thank God, it took me 9 years, but I moved to a sunny place where I can go outside, get the sun. I don't have to be B12, vitamin D deficient anymore.
Yeah, that's facts. In New York, yeah, I do supplement with the all 9 months of our gorgeous winter. So
Yeah, Sherry says some raw vegans take B12. Yeah, take B12 if you're deficient. Sure.
yeah, don't play
Sure.
with fire.
Why
If you're
not?
already deficient, just
Yeah,
don't.
get a blood test. Don't just take B12. That's a terrible idea. Get a blood test. If you're deficient, then take a supplement. Get get another blood test in a year, see if you're still deficient. If you're not, then don't take it. But here's the thing, the problem with supplements, okay? The problem with supplements is it's not solving the problem. Okay, what are you going to do? Take the supplement forever? There's you have to solve the issue why your body's not making that. So maybe you need to eat more greens. Maybe you need to eat more fruit and vegetables. Maybe you need to go on a healthy raw food diet. I don't know what the issue is or why people are taking supplements, but taking the supplement is just supposed to be temporary. Okay, and you got to figure out like, okay, what is the issue as to why I am deficient? Because you're not designed to be deficient in anything. You're not designed to rely on supplements. Vegans should not be relying on supplements for the rest of their life. But we'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah, but yeah, if people had antibiotics, then their bacterial flora is likely not at its prime. So then before it builds up to its prime, it's reasonable to supplement.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say last thing is I really cannot stand these vegans that say that if you go vegan, you should always supplement with a B12 supplement, okay, forever, as if to say that we are designed to eat meat, okay, and that's what's helping us to not be B12 deficient. When meanwhile, there are so many people with a B12 deficiency that eat meat. It has nothing to do with meat. Okay, and so I really can't stand these vegans that say you gotta make sure and take your B12 if you go vegan. But it's like, well, then they're admitting they think that we need to eat dead animal body parts to be healthy. It's not true. It's not true at all. Anyway, that's the last thing I'll say. I promise.
Now, there are lots of good points to actually debunk or discuss, so yeah, we can do it next time for sure. So thank you so much. It was a blast. I'm
Thank
very
you.
happy that we had the conversation. And yeah, I guess we will finish then.
Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. And let's do this again.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everyone.